Last week on the show, I talked about how Fox News tried to, quote, dupe college students into thinking that Donald Trump's tax plan was actually Bernie Sanders. So they showed someone from campusreform.org speaking with students, and he would tell them about Trump's tax plan, but tell them it was Bernie's, and then later on he would reveal that, this is actually Trump's tax plan. Now, the goal was to expose the biases of college students. Now, this is why I specifically took issue with this segment. You don't get to pretend as though you were able to successfully dupe college students into thinking that Trump's tax plan is Bernie Sanders if you don't even show us the fucking footage. We saw a couple of responses from students, but you didn't show us the whole thing. And look, let me ask you this. If you really wanted to prove that these students are dumb and they're just biased in favor of Bernie Sanders and they don't think for themselves, then why didn't you tell them that it was Bernie Sanders' idea to repeal the estate tax? Well, it's because these college students are not dumb, and they probably would have called you on your bullshit, but if they did that, then that wouldn't help you with your narrative. So he said that they described Donald Trump's tax plan as, quote, evil and hateful, but you just showed us the clip. They didn't call it evil and hateful. So apparently, the actual video made its way to Facebook, and we were able to see all of the questions in its entirety.
Donald Trump released his new tax plan, which was immediately shot down by his political opponents on the left. But what would those same people think if they were told that that tax plan was actually Bernie Sanders' plan? Today we're at George Washington University in Washington, D.C. to find out. What were your thoughts on Trump's tax plan when you saw it?
It's very better for the upper class than anyone else.
Pretty much horrible for the middle class, especially the lower class.
I mean, not ideal.
It's probably not the most efficient nor beneficial to the general populace.
Pretty negative. I feel the same. Yeah.
So Bernie Sanders came out with his plan. Some people call it a compassionate alternative. So we're getting opinions on Bernie's plan. First, one of Bernie Sanders' plans is to enhance the child tax credit, which is tax money given back to families when they have children. What do you think of that? Positive or negative?
Positive.
All right.
Same. I was a social worker, so I understand how important tax credits like that are.
Parents that have children go through a lot, and I think giving back money to them really, in turn, helps the children.
I think that's great.
I think that's positive, definitely.
Positive, definitely.
Next up, eliminating the death tax. So when people die, it's a large tax on their estate that goes to their family. What do you think of that?
I think that's definitely something that we should be doing.
I do think that's a good idea because I'm from New Jersey and we used to have like a really heavy inheritance tax.
I'm in favor of that.
I would say more positive.
I think I agree with that.
Bernie is planning to lower the small business tax rate to a maximum of 25%. I think that's a positive or negative?
I definitely think that's a positive.
I feel very positively toward that. My family has a small business, so I would definitely think that's a positive thing.
Taxing them less makes more sense.
Any way we can help small businesses work and thrive, it's definitely something that's beneficial for the country.
I think that would be great.
Overall, main idea of the plan, what do you think? Bernie did a good job, bad job?
I think overall, good.
Okay.
Yeah,
good job.
All
Good job, Bernie.
I think it's definitely a good plan, a positive plan that can help everyone.
I think it's pretty good. Definitely better than whatever Trump is proposing. I would make that leap right there. So.
What if I told you this actually is Donald Trump's tax plan, not Bernie's?
You got me.
It is. It's Trump's plan.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
All of these are actually Trump's ideas. This is actually Trump's plan.
Wow.
Wow, that's interesting.
Wow. I am shocked that I do agree with Trump on certain things.
Okay.
Interesting.
I'm definitely happily surprised that it's sounds a lot better than I would have expected it to.
I would have imagined he would be a little more stupid than that.
Okay. But it's not a stupid plan?
No, I don't think so. I think if you said it was Trump, at least for many people, it would be more opposition to it just because it was Trump.
It could be a policy of giving me ice cream, but if it's Trump, I'd be like, what's in that ice cream?
I definitely think there's an initial bias. I mean, I've done it myself. I'll just hear the word Trump and I'm like, ugh. I definitely think that's something to need to be looked over.
People, once they hear Trump or Republican, they become oh, they suck no matter what.
I think people definitely hear the name and start to think things automatically. And also because a lot of people just go to the same news sources, the same media, it makes it tough to get other points of views.
So the reason why I showed you the full clip there is because I don't necessarily care that I'm proven right or wrong. I just care that people have all the information to make their own decision about a particular segment. Now, I do share my insight, and yes, it is based on my own biases against Fox News. But what matters is that you are given the accurate portrayal of events. Now, Fox News, they didn't actually portray this clip accurately at all. But first of all, I will say that it is still the case that that interviewer lied about how the students described Trump's tax plan, because he said that they said it was hateful and evil. Again, that's still not the case. So if you do have additional footage of that, you have to show it to us. Now, second of all, contrary to what I initially assumed, he did ask the students about the estate tax. And it turns out I was incredibly wrong. I imbued these students with way too much confidence, because apparently they were able to be duped effectively into thinking that Bernie Sanders did support the repeal of the estate tax. And this is problematic because it does seem as though these students are blindly following Bernie Sanders while not actually being familiar with his more important policy positions. Am I excited that these students are enthusiastic about Bernie Sanders specifically? Absolutely, because they're right to assume that Bernie Sanders is looking out for them. But you always have to question somebody's motives, specifically if they come up to you on a college campus with a microphone and a camera, because 9 times out of 10, they're duping you over and trying to make you look stupid. But overall, in trying to show these students that they're biased and Trump's tax plan isn't as bad as it really is, it's still disingenuous. It's still a misrepresentation of the totality of Donald Trump's tax plan, because by and large, the overwhelming majority of tax cuts go to the rich in this tax plan. So yes, there are a couple of giveaways to the middle class, but to say that Donald Trump's tax plan, by and large, is a tax cut to the middle class is incorrect. So here's the thing. There are 2 takeaways from this after seeing the full clip. One, I was absolutely wrong, and I'm not afraid to admit that. I was too confident that these students wouldn't know the specifics about policy. While I'm glad that they do know, generally speaking, that Donald Trump's tax plan is bad, I'm disappointed that they don't know the specifics. Second of all, this was still a very disingenuous clip for a multitude of reasons. You can't just try to make it seem as though these students are dumb or biased because they assume that Trump's plan is looking out for the wealthy, because it is. And a couple of portions of that tax plan that you can cherry pick out doesn't change that. Now, the problem that I always have with these types of segments is that they're always cleverly edited and sometimes manipulate people into thinking that the interviewees actually seem more uninformed and dumb than they really are. Now, this is something that everyone does, from Mark Dice to Jimmy Kimmel, and both are able to make the other side look completely idiotic. And my main issue with this clip, though, is that it really does present Trump's tax plan in a very disingenuous light, when it overwhelmingly really is a giveaway to the rich, and these students were correct in their initial assumptions about it. But in the end, I don't think that this was a fail on the interviewer, as I initially thought, but it's still absolutely a fail on Fox News, because again, if you really want to prove that these college students are just brain dead Bernie bros, then why would you not show the most incriminating part of the video, where he gets them to agree to repeal the estate tax? I don't know. So Fox News, maybe this was just laziness on their part, and they wanted to include the meme part of the campus reform video so they can kind of appeal to the 2 young people that watch Fox News. But which is probably just me and Kyle Kalinske, by the way, for this show. But nonetheless, I was wrong. These students aren't as informed as I thought, which is a problem. And blind loyalty to any politician, including Bernie, is a problem. So we have to be more objective, and we have to question even people that we follow. So that's the takeaway. That's the full clip. Now you have the full story. I was wrong in some aspects of this story, but I was also right. Overall, I just want to make sure that you guys have the full picture and know that, yes, I myself have my own biases against Fox News, and they always misrepresent information. They obscure and obfuscate. So it's important that even if they do that, I don't stoop to their level to make them look bad, because I don't have to do that. Fox does that on their own. So if I'm able to give you guys a more accurate portrayal of this clip and this segment, then I am more than willing to do that. So there you have it. Make your own decision.
Support this podcast by becoming a patron at patreon.com/Humanist Report.